A swashbuckler is a heroic archetype in European adventure literature that is typified by the use of a sword and chivalric ideals. The archetype also became common as a film genre. The swashbuckler as an archetype. A swashbuckler is generally a protagonist who is heroic and idealistic and who rescues damsels in distress. Swashbucklers as an archetype are not pirates. His opponent is typically characterized as the dastardly villain. There is a long list of swashbucklers who combine outstanding courage, sword fighting skill, resourcefulness, and a distinctive sense of honor and justice, as for example Cyrano de Bergerac, the Three Musketeers, the Scarlet Pimpernel, Robin Hood, and Zorro. The hero's activities are primarily chivalric, rescuing fair maidens, saving the king, or defending the peasants from oppression. Even 17th and 18th century highwaymen and pirate heroes were made to conform to this stereotype. Historical background. A possible explanation for the term is that it derives from a fighting style using a side sword with a buckler in the offhand, which was applied with much swashing and making a noise on the buckler. Usually swashbuckling romances are set in Europe from the late Renaissance up through the Age of Reason and the Napoleonic Wars. Geoffrey Richards traces the swashbuckling novel to the rise of Romanticism, and an outgrowth of the historical novel, particularly those of Sir Walter Scott. Medieval tales of chivalry, love and adventure rediscovered in the 18th century. This type of historical novel was further developed by Alexander Dumas. John Galsworthy said of Robert Louis Stevenson's 1888 swashbuckling romance, The Black Arrow, that it was a livelier picture of medieval times than I remember elsewhere in fiction. Anthony Hope's 1894, The Prisoner of Zenda initiated an additional subset of the swashbuckling novel, the Ruritanian romance. The perceived significant and widespread role of swordsmanship in civilian society as well as warfare in the Renaissance and Enlightenment periods led to fencing being performed on theatre stages as part of plays. Soon actors were taught to fence in an entertaining, dramatic manner. Eventually fencing became an established part of a classical formation for actors. Consequently, when movie theatres mushroomed, ambitious actors took the chance to present their accordance skills on the screen. Since silent movies were no proper medium for long dialogues, the classic stories about heroes who would defend their honor with sword in hand were simplified and sheer action would gain priority. This was the birth of a new kind of film hero, the swashbuckler. Four of the most famous instructors for swashbuckling sword play are William Hobbs, Anthony de Longis, Bob Anderson and Peter Diamond. Film. The genre has, apart from sword play, always been characterized by influences that can be traced back to the chivalry tales of medieval Europe, such as the legends of Robin Hood and the King Arthur. It soon created its own drafts based on classic examples like the Mark of Zorro, the Three Musketeers, Scaramouche and the Scarlet Pimpernel. Some films did also use motifs of pirate stories. Often these films were adaptations of classic historic novels published by well-known authors such as Alexander Dumas, Raphael Sabatini, Baroness Emma Orkney, Sir Walter Scott, Johnston Macaulay, and Edmond Rostand. Swashbucklers are one of the most flamboyant Hollywood film genres, unlike cinema verite or modern realistic filmmaking. The genre attracted large audiences who relished the blend of escapist adventure, historic romance, and daring stunts in cinemas before it became a fixture on TV screens. As a first variation of the classic swashbuckler, there have also been female swashbucklers. Maureen O'Hara in Against All Flags and Jean Peters in Anne of the Indies were very early action film heroines. Eventually the typical swashbuckler motifs were used up because they had so often been shown on TV screens. Later films such as The Princess Bride, the Pirates of the Caribbean series and The Mask of Zorro include modern takes on the swashbuckler archetype. Television followed the films especially in the UK with The Adventures of Robin Hood, Sword of Freedom, The Buccaneers, and Willem Tell between 1955 and 1960. Us TV produced two series of Zorro in 1957 and 1990. Following the 1998 film The Mask of Zorro, a TV series about a female swashbuckler, the Queen of Swords, aired in 2000. List of swashbucklers, Notable swashbuckler characters from literature and other media include the following. Actors notable for their portrayals of swashbucklers include, Pinauer registered trademark T. Constant Coquelin, was a French actor, and one of the greatest theatrical figures of the age. He played Cyrano de Bergerac over 400 times and later toured North America in the role. In early 1883 James O'Neill took over the lead role in The Count of the Monte Cristo at Booth's Theatre in New York. His interpretation of the part caused a sensation with the theatre-going public, and a company was immediately set up to take the play on tour. O'Neill bought the rights to the play. Monte Cristo remained a popular favorite and would continue to make its appearance on tour as regular as clockwork. O'Neill went on to play this role over 6,000 times. E. H. Sothern was especially known for his heroic portrayal of Rudolph Rassendyll in the first-stage adaptation of The Prisoner of Zenda, which he first played in 1895. The role made him a star. Writers who provided stories that were adapted for swashbuckler films. See also: adventure novel, Cloak and Dagger, historical fiction, historical fantasy, historical novel, Ruritanian romance, Sword and Sandal, Louisiana swashbucklers. References. External links: the dictionary definition of swashbuckler at Wiktionary.